Hey everybody, it's me, Eric Conley, Garrett County 4-H Youth Development Agent. A few months ago, well, several months ago, I guess, in the springtime, I was asked to do a segment for From the Woods Today. It was great. I had the chance to go out and do some exploration and had been doing some videos otherwise. But they've asked me to come back and do a late summer fall edition. So I thought I would come out and kind of show off some of the plants that we don't really think about, especially since fall is one of those seasons that we generally think things are starting to die back, trees, the leaves are starting to change. And so I wanted to point out some of the flowers that are the most common that you may see either roadside or as you walk around a park or maybe in your backyard. So we'll be traveling around a little bit and taking a look at some different plants. And so I hope that you all see something that you recognize, something that that piques your interest. And once again, at the end of this segment, I will put my email address on there and also any other contact information for me. So if you would like to reach out, feel free. But let's go explore and see what kind of flowers we can find. So I'll start out with the orange one that you see behind me. This one is actually called orange jewelweed, or touch me not. Scientific name for this one is Impatiens capensis, and it's really just a beautiful flower. You can see that it has it is what is called bilaterally symmetrical, which means that it's going to be able to be split down the middle. It's going to have equal sides on two sides. And this one has another cool feature about it, which is called explosive dehiscence, when we're talking about the fruit of this particular plant. So it's really cool. So I'm gonna see if I can find one. So like this here, and this is another one that's great for insects. I've got bumblebees that are buzzing around here. There's one here, there's one back here that you can probably see. But getting back to explosive dehiscence, if you look at this right here, so I'm gonna pick this one out. So if I touch, the reason it's called touch me not is if you touch it, it kind of explodes in your hands. You can see if you look there, it kind of unravels a little bit. I actually have a little insect that's there. So it unravels and you can see the seeds that get spread out. So when it explodes, it actually explodes and sends those seeds all over the place. Really cool plant. So this is another one that's going to be really common to see. Roadsides, fields, all over the place. This is goldenrod, okay? Now, which goldenrod is it? Because as you all, I'm sure you're aware, goldenrod is actually our state flower, okay? Now, the problem is, though, is that in Kentucky, there are 35 different species of goldenrods. So and some of them, and I'm actually doing a segment later on this video about one of them that is endemic to Kentucky and is only found here. But goldenrod, like I said, 35 different. I think the one that's more recognized as our state flower is what is called Solidago canadensis. That's the scientific name for it. Solidago covers all of the goldenrods, and it's in the aster family. The fall and late summer is the aster season. 21,000 different species in that group, and so you can see this one's got all kinds of things buzzing around it, soldier beetles and everything else. So very common. Now the thing about goldenrod is that it has a bad reputation of being an allergen, and that's not at all true, okay? So most of the time when we get allergies, it's usually from things like ragweeds and things like that. So anyway, so this is one of our goldenrods, probably Solidago canadensis. This is actually probably the one that is our state flower, okay? So I wanted to make sure that I got this plant in because this is one of those that blooms in the fall, has a blooming period all the way basically from September into the early part of November. This is an endemic to Kentucky. We only find it in Kentucky. So this is white-haired goldenrod, which is Solidago albopilosa. So Solidago, which we've gone through the genera or the genus, Solidago means whole, and ego means has actually to do with the medicinal properties of goldenrod. And then albopilosa, albo meaning white, pilosa meaning hairy or fur. So if you look at this plant, you can see the white hairs that are running all the way up the stem. You also see the fencing behind. The reason that the fencing is here is, like I said, this isn't endemic to this area of Kentucky. I'm actually in the Red River Gorge right now, and so this is the only place in the whole world you're going to find it. Not in this single spot. There's several spots throughout the gorge, but only in the Red River Gorge are you going to find this plant. It's really incredible and cool that we have something like this. And it only grows. So what I'm looking at right now is this is kind of a rock shelter area, and there's an overhanging cliff. It only grows behind the drip line, which is where the water would drip over the edge. It only grows behind that, which is really amazing. Just an absolutely gorgeous flower. I hope that you all can appreciate. You can see it growing through here. There's a lot of it that's actually behind here, but just a really beautiful plant. So anyway, this is, like I said, white-haired goldenrod. Goldenrod in and of itself, as a genera, has a lot of cool things about it. Thomas Edison was actually trying to develop a native rubber, and goldenrod was kind of the best one. The problem with it is it's so hard to extract, but he gave some of that goldenrod rubber to Henry Ford, obviously Ford company, and Henry Ford made a Model T for Thomas Edison that had rubber tires that were made out of goldenrod. So a lot of cool history that goes along with goldenrod, and another one of our late summer, early fall blooming flowers. Just a cool plant. So this purple one you see here, this is well, it's a beautiful flower. It's called ironweed, okay? And this may be tall ironweed, which is Vernonia gigantea. And this one is generally the bane of a lot of farmers' existence. So when out in the fields, this is one that they don't want to leave up, but it's absolutely a necessary plant for butterflies and a lot of other pollinators. So this is a good stop-off plant. Also another aster. So once again, season of the aster, late summer and early fall. So but anyway, beautiful purple flower on this one. So far we've seen orange, we've seen yellow, and we've seen purple. We've seen a lot of really good colors. Yellow will be the ones that dominate this season, but very cool plant. So this is Jerusalem artichoke. Scientific name is Helianthus tuberosus. And this is a extremely common wildflower, although I think at one point it was invasive, but I need to check my facts on that. But it can get really weedy on the side of the road. So this is one that you see pretty often. It gets very tall and obviously has that classic aster shape. Once again, another aster. Okay, I think we've seen all asters today except for the Impatiens capensis, which was the orange jewelweed. So the reason is the scientific name, Helianthus, if you break that down, Helios, which is sun, and anthos, which is flower, so sunflower. That's where we get our traditional sunflower name from. That's the genera of that one. And then tuberosus has to do with the flower, or the fruit, the tuber, sorry, that's underneath the ground right now, and it can be harvested and eaten. I understand that it has a nutty flavor and is usually good a couple of weeks after the flowers die back. So, and was an important source of food for people that lived pre-1600 and probably even after that. I'm sure that there are people that still harvest it. So another really cool flower. Obviously a lot of insect traffic on this one. I've seen a lot of butterflies and bees and things like that. So 'tis the season for pollinators to get out and really do some work. So this is great blue lobelia. It sounds almost like a Willy Wonka character to me, but scientific name for this one is Lobelia syphilitica. Lobelia, you know, obviously talking about the lobes, especially it's got this this bottom lip that has multiple lobes on it. But then I'm not going to get into the specifics of the species name. I'll let your parents explain that. But anyway, so this plant is pretty common, found in wet areas, It's also found, it's also a relative of another plant that we see around streams and creeks called cardinal flower, which is Lobelia cardinalis. Generally, most lobelias are toxic, so you want to try it. You definitely don't want to ingest those. But anyway, so if you just have the chance to get out, I mean, the fall is the time where we start to kind of are settling in and figuring out some things. But I would encourage you to get out and take a hike. This is when, you know, the weather's going to be a lot better. It's going to be beautiful outside, and you can get out and you can see some of these things that are going to be more common. You're going to see a lot more insect activity as they start to transition into the cool season of the year. So I just, you know, I really appreciate everybody asking me to come back and do one of these. It's been so fun to get out and take a look around. I do an on the ground series where I get out and I generally take a look at one flower, but to get out and kind of squeeze some of these things into mass is really kind of cool. So I hope that you all get out, you get a chance to see everything that I've been able to see, or see even more. And you know, if you ever have any questions about something that you've seen, feel free to contact me at eric.comley, that's eric.comley@uky.edu. Or if you have or need more information about 4-H, feel free to contact me at the Garrett County 4-H Facebook page. But get out there and explore, and I hope you all enjoy. This has been Eric Conley, Garrett County 4-H agent, from the woods today.